Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey here with all of the latest Cowboys news and rumors on today's show, including a signing that has been made by the Cowboys. We'll break that down, the roster move made, player in, player out, Trevon Diggs extension talks, the latest on one Ezekiel Elliott, a potential Cedrick Wilson trade as well. We'll break all that down and a little bit more for you on today's news and rumors. We begin, though, with the Trevon Diggs extension talk. An ESPN report says that the Cowboys have had some contract talks with Trevon Diggs. We'll also break down what Stephen Jones had to say on that matter because there's an update on that side. Diggs, of course, is entering the final year of his contract, and the Cowboys would like to get a deal done, but that isn't always a necessary guarantee because, well, that's just how football tends to work there. I will make note that figuring out the hypothetical price tag for Trevon Diggs could be a little bit more complicated than what the Cowboys are historically used to, just in terms of maybe it is what they are more historically used to with the way they tend to do business, but I think it's a more complicated situation than the rest of the deals this team is currently facing in front of them. Here's what Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, who broke the news on, I believe this was Saturday afternoon, said about Diggs. This is a top cornerback in the league. One of the best. 17 INTs the last 3 years. I am told that the Cowboys and Diggs had some check-in moments about a potential contract over recent weeks this offseason. Now, that's been confirmed by, I think, Mike Fisher confirmed that. And then later, too, it ended up being confirmed by Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, too, from that perspective. So I think that's a situation that matters there. What Fowler mentioned was that the top of the market is $21 million per year. And he is right on that. Jair Alexander makes $21 million per year for the Green Bay Packers. Denzel Ward makes 20.1. Jalen Ramsey makes 20. J.C. Jackson makes 16.5. And there's some gapping in there. You can see it on screen, right? $19 million to 18 to 17, 16. No one makes 15. Diggs has been a playmaker. He has been a take away the football type of guy. And that is valuable. Make no mistake. That role carries immense value in the NFL. But J.C. Jackson was a similar player in terms of he was a ball skill guy. He made a bunch of plays in the football. He made an impact from that perspective. So that's going to be tricky. Do you pay him like Jair Alexander? Do you pay him like Denzel Ward? Or do you pay him more like J.C. Jackson? And if it's more like J.C. Jackson, well, does Diggs want to do that right now? So that makes it tricky. And that's why I think of the deals, this one might be a little bit more complicated to get done sooner than maybe later. So this is the pinned comments on today's show. So if an ad break happens to come here on YouTube, cool. Take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote for us. Will the Cowboys extend Trevon Diggs before the season? Y for yes, N for no. Again, if that ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there. Let us know. I do want to go over what Stephen Jones said today as well. He confirmed the Cowboys have had contract talks with several different players, including but not necessarily limited to Dak Prescott. Can't have Micah Parsons' contract talks here, but that one's coming down the pipeline. CeeDee Lamb. They also mentioned Terrence Steele as a potential player there, which I think is important to note since there's been buzz of, we want to play him at left guard. It'd be weird to pay a player and then flip him into a new position altogether. Now, Dallas has a history of doing contract extensions for their top young players during training camp. Everyone's together, easier to get it done a little bit, so I think that timing could be right. The Cowboys do have $20 million in salary cap space right now. A portion of that, if not most of it, is earmarked for players like Diggs, likely. I think the Lamb one's going to get done, but I'm not worried at all about that one. Get done at some point, bump their cap it up a little bit this year, and then still carry money over. Here's what Steven said this morning. The timing has got to be right for those guys, and it's got to be right for us. Our only goal would be to hopefully start to chip away at this. Our focus is also on winning in 2023. No specific order. It's just kind of when opportunity arises, they got to be motivated to want to do it. It seems like more and more guys want to wait. And I understand why. Because the price usually goes up from one year to the next. People don't seem to be in as a type of hurry. But if the opportunity is there, we sure like to get 1 to 2 to 3 of these guys signed. We'd love to do more than one. So Steven is right. Players are in no rush because they can get more next year. And that's actually what bothers me. Steven, this is your job to get these contracts done. They want to take their time. Give them reason not to. Give them reason to say, you know what, I'll sign right now. I won't try to maximize my full-fledged earnings. Don't do what you've done with almost every major contract extension in recent years. I'm thinking Tank Lawrence. I'm thinking Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper. Guys that could have been part of your now veteran core. Of course, Amari's not here anymore. You waited, and you let the market set you. It frustrates me when the Cowboys do that. He is aware of what is going on. He's like, well, it's not up to us. But it is, Steven. You've got to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to contract negotiations. Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Bird Dogs. Get the best fitting, feeling, comfortable shorts and pants out there and get yourself hooked up with a free Yeti-style tumbler when you go to birddogs.com and use promo code CHAT. Got the built-in liner for the ultimate comfort. I have yet to find, and I don't think I ever will, a more comfortable pair of shorts. I am not wearing mine today because, well, I wanted to actually have shorts on air this time, and they're over here to my right. I'll show them to you guys here in just a little bit. But these are the best shorts out there. You can wear the gym shorts style. They've got swim trunks since it is getting closer to the summer as well. And they've got more khaki style as well. So in case you want to wear them on the golf course like I do, because I'm a big fan of golf myself. Here are my Bird Dog shorts, the best ones I've ever owned in my life. Promo code CHAT, that's CHAT, over at birddogs.com. Link and promo code are in the comment section and the description. When you use that promo code, they'll hook you up with a free Yeti-style tumbler. Appreciate Bird Dogs being a sponsor here at the Cowboys Report. Time for a roster move. Antonio Callaway, he's out of here. The Cowboys have cut Callaway a day after it was revealed that he was arrested over the weekend for driving, or not driving. He was not driving at the time. He was in the passenger seat. But he had a warrant out for his arrest for a suspended license and not paying. I forget who told it to me on Twitter, but I love the line, so I'm going to mention it again. Players on the margins cannot do marginal things. And that is exactly, unfortunately, what happened here with Antonio Callaway. He was probably not going to make the team. Now you're not taking care of business off the field. It's just not worth the hassle anymore. So Callaway's out, and Tyron Johnson has signed. The NFL journeyman. He's played with about a quarter of the teams so far in the NFL. Bunch of different stints. Chargers probably most notably from that perspective. Cowboys do still have 2 roster spots open, by the way, but Johnson just slots in 1-for-1 with Antonio Callaway. I think kicker is an obvious area of red flag. As we'll get into in a little bit, there were 6 other players who worked out. Quarterback and cornerback both appear to be potential addition points there. Johnson has actually played a bit, though, in the NFL. Most of that production you see on screen came back in 2020, I believe, with the LA Chargers. But 422 yards, has very much bounced around the NFL from that perspective. So he's now slots in as a backup spot on this Cowboys unlikely to make the roster portion of the wide receiver depth chart. So Johnson comes on, Callaway leaves, and one of several players the Cowboys worked out. 7 in total. We'll break them down for you guys here. I do want to make note that you're working out players of this caliber. You're not actually working out the DeAndre Hopkinses of the world. Those guys are too good to have a workout, plus they're not banged up. So these workout players are back end of the roster guys. So Jacob Eason, Bryce Perkins, potential quarterback 4 options. Maybe they're a practice squad player for you if they end up getting signed. N'Keal Harry, the former first-round pick and former third-round pick, Lynn Bowden also worked out. Bowden was recently cut by the Patriots. These are the guys you work out kind of at various points throughout the summer, build out your in case of injury, sign somebody for the back end of the roster spot. Thakarius, a.k.a. Bo Peep Keyes, worked out, and did cornerback Jordan Miller. Sounds like the Cowboys think Jordan Lewis will begin the year, at least training camp, on the PUP list, which would potentially allow some more roster moves as well. Now, we are 76 subs away from 156,000. I would like to get there sooner than later because I want to keep growing and doing even more fun things for you guys. Got a lot of fun stuff planned this season and preseason for you. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys videos. Over now to Ezekiel Elliott, as Mike Garaofolo has said the Cowboys and a Zeke reunion could still be in the cards. And Jerry Jones said something similar, so if you are over the Zeke conversation, I get it, but when the number one NFL platform and the owner says it's a possibility, I mean, have to have the conversation, right? I still think the odds of this are very, very low because the Cowboys and Zeke both appear to be moving on at this stage. From Mike, perhaps return to Dallas in the long run can be where this is headed. Dallas still believes that he's got good football left. Now, he's not going to be the lead back there, obviously, if he does return. There's really not a bunch of teams beating down his door, give him a lot of money right now. I don't think the market for Zeke has materialized in any fashion like maybe he thought it was going to. And I think the Cowboys kind of knew this was going to be coming. They didn't want to be the ones to say, hey, Zeke, how about $2 million and offend him? And I think that's a little bit more in line of what Zeke's found. For that could change. You know, teams get antsy in July if the camp bodies don't look very good, if the young guys don't impress. And I'm in a similar boat. Look, Zeke did great things for the Cowboys. I get that. But he's been a short yardage back. He's averaged 4 yards a carry basically the past 3 years. That is replacement level. That's all it is. Now, from what I've been told is that Zeke's done a really good job of taking care of his money off the field, so he doesn't need to just play for like $2 million. He can be selective and even wait a long time if he doesn't need to. I want to see what these young guys can do. That's what I'm focused on. I want to see what Deuce Vaughn. I want to see what Ronald Jones, Malik Davis, Rico Dowdle, Hunter Lipke. Stay tuned for our OTA segment on that, by the way, folks. I want to see what the young guys can do. That's my focal point. And you know what? If they're really bad in camp, okay, you can revisit Zeke and all the other veteran backs at that stage. But right now, I don't see any real desire to bring him back. I would rather move on at that point. So what do you think is the percent chance you think that Zeke comes back to Dallas? I think we're talking like a couple percentage points, if that. Maybe it's 1% because it's Jerry, never say never, but I don't think it's going to happen. Sound off for me in the comments section. Cedrick Wilson, speaking of reunions, this one might appeal to a little bit more people from that perspective. Sports Illustrated's Mike Fisher says that the Dolphins have made calls in an effort to trade away Cedrick Wilson, which I actually fully buy. Wilson has a $7 million base salary this year, $5 million of which is fully guaranteed. So if you were to trade for Cedrick Wilson, you would pay him $7 million unless he or the Dolphins, more likely, ate some of that money, because there's no reason for Wilson to eat more than like $2 million or something beyond that. And no one's paying Cedrick Wilson that. Wilson had a really good 2021 campaign. He did. He was really effective. He made some nice fun plays. The gadget trick plays were fun too. And then he didn't do anything in Miami. And I know they signed Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong. I think they weren't, when they signed Cedrick Wilson, they weren't expecting Tyreek Hill to be available. But they also they were playing Trent Sherfield over him. So it just didn't go very well. In the meantime, Dallas is actually in okay shape. Now, if you could get Cedrick Wilson for like $2 million, let's say the Dolphins cut him, and then maybe you feel better about your wide receiver 4 spot over instead of a Tolbert or a Fehoko, you feel better about Wilson. But I'm not trading for him unless the Miami Dolphins eat pretty much all of that contract. So would you trade, folks, for Cedrick Wilson? T for trade, P for pass. You guys can sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. Barring a big-time salary cap adjustment, I'm not that interested in the end.